Today's broadcast is about managing your energy flow into and out of you, which will allow you as a sensitive, intuitive being to become unstoppable. I have interviewed hundreds of healers, and as a group, these loving, generous, and kind individuals want to improve the welfare of our planet, affecting millions, if not billions, of lives. Amongst the frustrations these amazing healers express during our conversations are the ability to attract stable income to sustain themselves, the loss of their life force energy when working with others, and even the lack of confidence or the fear of failing because of the responsibility of the well-being of others. I've had these very same frustrations myself during my 30-year healing history. When the calling to heal got so strong, I had to retire from my 40-year physics career. I needed to replace my six-figure salary fast. Standard sales and business techniques didn't always work for me as a highly sensitive introvert. Through trial and error and studying with many coaches, I developed a 4-step system that replaced my salary within 5 months. I've helped others develop their successful healing businesses, and I can help you too. I'm Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Listen in to discover more. Well, welcome back. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about your energy flow into and out of you. And what this does is it helps you maintain your vibrancy and energy while building a successful business and income, and it's reflected in your personal frequency. So the first thing I want to talk about is really, it's kind of a science question. It's how your energies interact with one another. So you're vibrating at a particular frequency, right? So it's going along like this, right? You've got this wavelength and this frequency and this amplitude. And you encounter somebody else and they have a slightly different frequency. And what happens is that those two things admix when they interact with one another, whether it's in you or in them. And that, of course, depends on you. And when they admix, it starts getting a little, it gets a little chaotic. And the scientific term for that is interference. It's the admixture of frequencies. And when you can picture this is if you are looking at the waveform of a recording of your voice, for example, you see all these jagged forms. And that is the combination of all the frequencies that are coming out of your mouth at the same time. And trust me, you have a lot going on. So the combination of frequencies like that, this interference, can affect you when you have a lot of interference and you haven't cleaned yourself up, for example, that you will end up depleted. And I know this because I have spent years frustrated with this very phenomenon. And early on, I kind of intuitively learned how to protect myself by shutting myself off. And by shutting myself off this way, it didn't allow me to interact with others very well. And that is the bane of an introvert. I'm highly introverted, meaning that I am affected by other people's energies, so I will tend to withdraw. That's just part of a personality. It is not a flaw. So my definition of introversion and extroversion is an extrovert loves to be around other people because they're energized by it. And an introvert can love to be around other people, but they need time in between to recoup their energy, right? So it draws us down. I remember the first time that I taught a big classroom full of 200 students that were waiting for me to teach them their physics, that it took me 4 hours to recover afterwards. I just sat on my desk with my head on my desk, like completely wiped out. And I thought, how am I going to manage an entire semester like this with teaching 4 days a week? So I had to learn something really fast. And then I remembered a lot of my energy healing training at that point. And one of them, so here's a clue, one of them was creating a shield around myself. So when I created the shield, I just imagined this blue shield around me. And in physics, a blue filter, for example, will filter out all of the low frequency vibrations and allow only the high frequency vibrations. And when I started doing this, every time I gave a lecture, I did not get the energy from all of the students in, and I only got the high frequency stuff in, not the, how students will sit in the back and they'll bitch about the professor not explaining that right, not confusing them. I even got comments that I didn't know what she was talking about for the whole 10 weeks, but they never visited my office hours, right? So we get blamed for everything, and it's not your fault, right? When people blame you for stuff, it's not really your fault. So you are sucking up all those energies. So creating this like imaginary blue shield around you can really help. That's one way to manage, right? But then what if you do get contaminated? When you do get contaminated by these energies, then you thinking that you're stuck with it. So fortunately, energy hygiene has two components. One is the protection and the other one is the cleaning up. Right? And unfortunately, those of us that are highly energy sensitive and that are also healers, for example, as we are healers, we are open so we can feel what's going on around us. It's not that we do it on purpose. It's just that that's the way of us interacting with our environment, always probing, always probing, always probing. Especially if you've come from a dysfunctional family like I have. I came from a mother that was angry a lot, and she scared me a lot. And so whenever she would come in my room, like for example, if I got chastised for something, she would come in the room, yell at me, leave the room, get more and more furious as she's outside of the room, and come back in the room and yell at me some more, and then another thing, and then another thing, right? And this really depleted my energy. And so I had to learn how to protect myself. And one of the bad things to do is to shut off my feelings. And I did that, and I had to learn how to open them up again. So in this dysfunctional environment, you learn how to probe all the time, probing. What's mom thinking now? What's she doing now? What's her face look like? What's the tone of her voice? And so you become extremely sensitive to what's going on around you. And that probing, that opening up and probing allows the poopy energy, the low frequency energy to come in and affect you. So there is a second process. So the first is protection, and the second, right, keeping the flow from coming in. But what if it does come in? What if those two energies are admixing, interfering with one another and lowering your frequency? So now there's the release process, and that's the process of, first of all, grounding, right? So grounding cord is sending a grounding cord down from the base of your spine into the earth, but also anchoring up to spirit. So sending a line of energy up to spirit, which is where that high frequency energy is, and help washing it through and letting go of whatever feelings got riled up during this process so we can be at peace, right? And you, of course, as a healer, know that you are only the instrument. You are not the healer itself. You are the instrument. In other words, you are helping other people, and it comes through you. It's not of you. So, in summary, there's this two-step process in helping you protect and guide the energy that's in you, right? So you're managing the flow of energy into and out of you. So the first is helping create a barrier, so a filter that allow the good stuff to come in and protects you basically reflects the bad stuff off, the bad low frequencies off. It's a filter process. And the second step is releasing it once you've gotten it, right? So in the process of releasing it, then it's no longer in there. Your frequencies get nice and clean again, and you go back to calm instead of riled up. And I know this because when anybody was angry or frustrated around me, I could feel it like on my skin. It felt like somebody poured itching powder on me. And I can even feel like when somebody is fearful, it's like I can feel my heart clenching, right? It's like you get this clenching feeling, your stomach knots up, like I feel their fear. So I still use that in my healing process. I just probe momentarily and then I set it to release instantly. So I know what's going on with other people. So it is almost a two-edged sword, right? So managing that flow of energy is really important. So in summary, there's this two-step process. One is to shield and the other is to clean up. And there's many more ways to go about it. Stay tuned to learn more of how you can thrive as a healer or intuitive coach without burning out. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me. If you found this message helpful, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up or a 5-star rating, and share it with your friends. To discover more about the 4-step system for attracting a generous income as a healer or an intuitive coach without burning out, sign up for my free training at www.highpaidhealers.com. I look forward to seeing you there and in the next video.